Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be walking you through how I turn my Harbor Freight 2 horsepower dust collector into an inline system that not only saves space compared to the other modifications I've seen online, but also makes all of the components of your dust collector much more accessible should they require maintenance or cleaning. My old configuration, which you are seeing me disassemble now, was a complete mess, very inaccessible, and took up a lot of space. And one of the number one reasons for that was because everything was thrown together to just get up and running. On this attempt, I took my time in planning the configuration out, and I wound up with what I think is a pretty great result. So without further ado, let's get to it. I started off with the filter, which is the Wynn environmental pleated filter sold for this dust collector. It will require most of the work to get this system working how I want it. I first need to remove the filter cap so I can cut out the inside metal, then attach a gamma seal lid to it. You've probably seen this same lid in a multitude of other dust collector videos, and they're usually pretty easy to find. My local Tractor Supply Co. had them. Then I used a medium duty metal cutting jigsaw blade to remove the convex circle here. I dropped the lid into the hole I cut, and it just so happens that the gamma seal lid fit perfectly, to the point where the gasket was still effective even with the layer of metal between the top and bottom of the lid. Then I did a quick scuff sand where the lid and metal would meet, and used some 5-minute epoxy to attach them. And as you can see, the fit was perfect. I also went back and put some more epoxy around the perimeter to ensure there would be no leaks. For the other side of the filter, I ordered some toggle clamp latches that would allow me to easily attach or remove the filter as needed. Attaching these was pretty simple, but did require drilling into the small metal lip of the filter. As painful as this may look, there's actually a solid layer of epoxy behind this lip that holds all of the pleats together, so I'm not damaging the filter itself. Nevertheless, I also went back afterwards and filled the screw holes in with epoxy to seal up any damage I might have caused. With the latch portion attached, I took a measurement of the filter itself so I could cut some plywood circles. I got this jig from Milescraft on Amazon for around 40 bucks. It's pretty decent, does the job well enough, and I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something like this. I'm using Baltic birch plywood here as, one, it's all I have at the moment since I was able to get a 4x8 sheet for around 88 bucks from my local lumber distributor, and two, I want this mod to last a long time and maintain its strength. You could probably get away with a lighter duty ply, but that's up to you. While trying to get these latches on, I realized two things. One, I needed to increase the height of this lid by another sheet of plywood, and two, I had cut the circles just a bit too small. So, to remedy this and not waste a whole bunch more expensive plywood, I just cut out some little squares that would extend the diameter and height of the lid. And here's a great example of kickback I wasn't expecting. I didn't wind up hurt at all, but this could have easily been prevented by flipping the plywood around to the other side of the fence. I left this in here as a reminder to stay safe with your power tools. And here I am installing those blocks I just mentioned. I'm aligning them to be a bit outside of the lower circle's diameter in order to increase the overall diameter. I didn't get those latches perfectly oriented around the filter, so I came back and labeled each latch with a number and scratched that number into the metal lip of the filter as well. And those blocks I used left me with a gap within the smaller diameter in the latches, so I just used some shims to fill that space, then install the other screw. And now you can see how this lid will serve as a connector between the blower and the filter. As you can see, this blower already has mounting holes in the metal outlet, so the only thing I needed to do was cut a hole and bolt this lid on. So I lifted the blower up and traced the external outlet, then I cut a small block to be slightly larger than the interior of the outlet, and traced that for the hole I was going to cut. I raised the lid up and got to cutting with the jigsaw. My camera battery died, but be prepared for this to take some time. 2 3/4 inch pieces of Baltic birch make for quite a slow cut. The space behind the blower outlet on the blower side of the mounting holes was pretty limited, so I had to use bolts that wouldn't extend too far. I used 1.5 inch by 1/4 inch bolts with a washer on the plywood side and nylon locking nuts on the blower side. To make this length of bolt work, I needed to counterbore the plywood lid where the bolts and washers would be inserted. Unfortunately, my drill press was a little too small for the lid, so I wound up with some sloppy counterbores. This wasn't that big of a deal though. I just put a small bead of silicone caulk in between the lid and blower outlet, and this should eliminate any leakage. And now onto the mounting bracket. Keep in mind, I had already changed the orientation of the blower housing to the motor. To do this yourself, you will need a gear puller of some kind to remove the fan. Then remove the bolts of the fan housing in order to rotate its orientation. I'll link to a gear puller set that worked for me in the description, as well as a video that shows you how to remove the fan. Anyways, once you've rotated your fan housing to point down, you can copy a similar mount as I've created here. Try your best to line up the motor mount to be parallel to the base of the mount, as this will make it easier to achieve level when you install the blower on the wall. To attach the blower to the mount, I used 1 inch long, 5/16 inch lag screws. I also used double washers on the motor mount to keep the lag screws from protruding through the back too much. Next, you'll want to create the wall portion of the mount. This will be attached to studs and have a cleat at the bottom, which will help hold some of the weight of the assembly both during install and in everyday use, as well as make it easier to achieve level with all that weight over your head. Make sure this mount has the length to span at least 2 studs. Then, you can attach the blower mount assembly to the wall mount with screws. Now that the physically hard part is over, you can go ahead and attach the gamma seal base to the filter. If you noticed earlier, this lid had previously been attached to the filter with some flimsy screw latches that I found cheap and unreliable for what I paid for the filter. Thankfully, I was able to find a replacement from Oneida that's a lot sturdier. I'll put all the information in the description, but it's worth noting that you will need to call to order these. Now that the filter's ready, I went ahead and attached it to the blower, attached the gamma seal lid to the bucket, and gave her a test run. I'm able to start this remotely using this remote kit from Amazon. This will be in the description as well. Finally, I'm going to add a Cyclone separator to this configuration. A lot of people get the Oneida Cyclones, but this one from Vevor was much cheaper at $75, and also it's clear. And although this doesn't add much to the overall function of a Cyclone, I do love being able to see the dust coming through and separating out. This Cyclone certainly isn't the best. The mounting bolts that came with it were very short, the threads were all plastic, one of which was stripped from the factory, and I was able to hear a leak around where the metal gasket and bottom of the Cyclone meet. However, I can definitely recommend it for the money because at the end of the day, I was able to use the mounting bolts on this lid, and any leaks/stripping were easily fixed with a little super glue and silicone caulk. I also installed a little window to monitor the barrel capacity using some scrap acrylic. Make sure to be careful and don't apply too much pressure when drilling into acrylic, as it's relatively fragile and very easy to crack. And this is just a helpful tip for storing caulk of any kind. Cut off the finger of a latex glove, then pump some caulk into the end of it, and this will keep out the air better than just tape. And now we can move on to the final install steps. I've got a 3D printed 4-inch sewer and drain PVC to 4-inch flex hose design, which is one of the many dust collection print models I've created. I'm thinking about either selling the print files, the adapter itself, or both on my Etsy in the near future, but we'll get more into that in the next video when I revamp my dust collection plumbing, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, here's the Cyclone working now that everything's up and running. I hope you found this video helpful in getting your Harbor Freight dust collector set up in a more space-efficient fashion, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel as that really helps me grow. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.